We all know Bruce Wayne has a contingency plan for everyone and their grandma, allowing him to rest easy knowing he could eliminate anyone stepping out of line.
You don't have any powers. I have this.
But when it comes to his very own family, you might think he wouldn't go that far. Well, you'd be wrong, because in Batman Volume 3, Chapter 137, we see a Gotham much more peaceful than normally, partially because Selina Kyle and Jason Todd had taken up their own mission to rehabilitate criminals, turning them into something different, something better. But of course, Bruce didn't approve the method, believing criminals deserved a beatdown, followed by a prison sentence. So he personally went on a rampage, deliberately targeting Selina's men, which pretty quickly caught the attention of the Bat family, where Tim Drake was the first to approach him, who hesitantly tried making Bruce see reason, explaining Gotham's crime rate was decreasing rapidly, only for Bruce to basically say he didn't give a sheet before threatening Tim that he would personally arrest him if he interfered, something that shook him to the core. So he snitched to his siblings, who all agreed Bruce had lost the plot ever since being flung across the multiverse. Yet they weren't sure on what to do next. The only thing Dick wanted to make sure was that Jason wouldn't do anything rash, which he promised he wouldn't. But sometime later, Bruce infiltrated one of Selina's gangs, where Jason instantly ambushed him against Barbara's instructions. While fighting, he claimed Bruce's outlook was too outdated, saying he hadn't grown up since his parents died, to which Bruce's main argument was that he and Selina were only creating better criminals, even using Jason as a perfect example, which I gotta say was a good point, even if it might have been out of line. Luckily, before they managed to kill each other, the rest of the family arrived, making Bruce realize he never actually needed Zur-En-Arrh to create his own failsafe, as he'd basically trained his own army, who all kind of dreamed of an opportunity to beat his ass. But despite being outnumbered, Bruce knew their every move, having taught them himself, until Dick finally caught him lacking, where Jason was ready with his crowbar, which could have ended badly if Damian hadn't arrived in time, punching Jason so hard he damn near knocked his head off. And before the others realized what happened, Bruce and Damian had retreated. Then a few panels later, we see Bruce Loki scared that the others would just kick down his front door, before a lot of other stuff happened, including Bruce losing the Wayne Manor, which he believed was Selina's doing, where we also see him returning to the Batcave, unsure how to handle the situation, even crashing out on Zur-En-Arrh, trying to reassure himself he was the one in control, only to basically break down emotionally before being interrupted by Vandal Savage, who was the new owner of Wayne Manor. But to follow the Bruce and Jason feud, it continues in Catwoman Volume 5, Chapter 57, where Jason continues to educate his crime students on stealing cars until Bruce eventually tracked him down. In a desperate attempt to escape, Bruce yanked Jason off his own bike, which truly infuriated him, as he believed it could have killed him, making him say the funniest thing, that he might just need a failsafe for Bruce, completely unaware of what was about to happen. In the end, Bruce outmaneuvered him, before, in simple terms, drugged and kidnapped Jason. That's when we return to the Batman Comics issue 138, where we see Jason waking up in Bruce's safe house, who instantly realized something was off, as Bruce claimed he wasn't proud of what he had done. Jason was trembling from fear, which understandably made him believe Bruce had used fear gas on him. But the answer was much worse. Bruce explained he had activated Jason's failsafe, which basically involved adding something to his personality, like a goddamn patch update. Now every time Jason's adrenaline spiked, his fear would kick in, rendering him useless.
I don't know what clouds your judgment worse, your guilt or your antiquated sense of morality.
And if you think it could have been worse, remember that adrenaline activates more times than just while doing something dangerous, including freaky time, meaning Jason was now forced to shit himself upon a woman's touch, which could be considered hating on the same level as the Reverse Flash. Furthermore, Bruce sat down and looked him straight in the eyes, claiming it was a gift that would save him from himself. At the same exact time, Dick Grayson returned to the place Bruce had hidden the Batbox's central system and was prepared to disconnect him, as the kidnapping of Jason confirmed Dick's theory that Bruce Wayne had lost his mind. But before overriding Bruce's authority, he appeared behind Dick, explaining he was disappointed. So while Tim Drake knocked out Damian by cheating, as even he himself revealed he couldn't beat Damian in a fair fight anymore, he reunited with Dick and kept Bruce busy, allowing Dick to reach the Batbox. But before he disconnected Bruce, he asked the system what Bruce had done with Jason. So when Tim was having a rough time, Dick suddenly returned furious and continued to beat Bruce without mercy. One of the few times I personally thought Dick Grayson was about to kill, if Tim hadn't stopped him, which ultimately resulted in Bruce escaping, leaving behind a heartbroken Damian. But you may wonder, what happened with Jason? Well, he sat in the dark, so scared he could barely walk. Even when Marquise came to break him out, he was ultimately left behind as he could no longer fight.
Goodbye, my friend.
However, in the comic Batman and Catwoman, The Gotham War, we see a terrified Jason trembling down the street as rumors about Red Hood being broken spread across Gotham's underworld, something that would actually turn into a good thing as he came across a house fire, which Jason still couldn't ignore despite everything, where Bruce's failsafe made sure both him and the kid would die until Scarecrow appeared, who wanted to take advantage of Jason's weak state and finish what Bruce had started. Then the most ironic thing happened. The Joker appeared out of nowhere, ready to protect Jason. And since Joker is literally incapable of being scared, Scarecrow didn't stand a chance. Afterwards, we see Joker promise to find a way to fix Jason, claiming he needed him. And in The Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing issue 12, we finally see the two reunite, where Joker injects Jason with a small dose of Joker toxin, just enough to counteract Batman's failsafe for a little while until the effects eventually wear off. But we never actually get to see that, as the next time it's mentioned is in Batman issue 145, where Oracle notes Jason shouldn't push himself too hard, as the adrenaline spikes could render him useless, to which Jason replies, the Joker toxin still counters it, helping him push through it anytime his fear is triggered, which, to be honest, raises the question of whether the whole plot got rendered moot. So let me know what you guys think, or if I missed some other issues where it was discussed.